So, so you kick off, you're 2 years in, you're scrambling to earn money any way you can to put food on the table. So it was not so much about an inspiration from a book or anything. It was more like, we just got to survive. We're going to put food on the table. We've got to pay the bills. We're going to pay the rent. So who were your mentors, because you very much talk about in, She Business, you talk about mentors and resources. Her business, sorry. Her business. What sort of mentors have helped you along the way? So you kicked off, you're 2 years in, and it runs for 13 years. So who's basically inspiring you from a mentor and resource point of view?
I'm a big fan. Yeah, big fan of mentors. Always had mentors, because I always knew that it was going to be a fast track, that someone who had done this before was going to allow me to take steps faster. And I'm never afraid to say I don't know. I think that's probably one thing that's worked really well for me. And so in the early days, it was, who knew how to do something I couldn't do? So once we had a viable business model, we had never done an extensive budget. And so a friend of mine was, head of finance for a particular company at the time. He helped me do a budget. Another friend who was a corporate trainer who helped corporations with their visions sat down and helped us do a vision. So I would just call on people in both formal and informal ways. But over the years, lots of rustling there. Over the years, books have been mentors. But then I have had some more formal arrangements, like one of my long-term mentors and someone who made a huge difference to my life. Once I started my business is a man named Robert Kiyosaki, who's the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he and his wife, Kim, were mentors to me and PJ, both from a thinking big, growing a business perspective, but also from investing, because alongside running our business, we've always invested as well. And so he's been very instrumental. But my very first mentor was when I was working at Virgin in my 20s. I didn't have a degree of any sort. I had sort of had 3 interviews to get into Virgin because it was just a business I wanted to work in. And though I'd had a little bit of experience in promotion and marketing roles, just by chance, so I kind of gravitated towards them, I started at an entry level as a receptionist at Virgin when they were just opening up the mega suites.
Okay.
And again, I have never had a problem with volunteering or going back a step in order to go forward. And very quickly, within months of being at Virgin, the marketing director took me under his wing and said, I think you have a natural flair for this. I want you to come and work with me. And for 3 years, he mentored me and he said, you are going to have to go and get some study. And so I went to night college and I studied marketing, but then he would take me to every meeting, to all the ad agencies, and really pushed me to develop my marketing skills and had me become more confident. And I think the role that mentors, both women and men in my life, have always been they see more potential in me than I see. And that they would help me take those steps where perhaps on my own I might not. And that's exactly what I do today with the women in our community, is see the potential in them and then guide them towards a direction that perhaps I've walked, but making the path so much easier for them, because they're doing it with the support not only of a mentor. Isn't just the lifting you up, but it's also that gentle nudge on your back that pushes you forward. And so I'm big fan of mentors.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest benefits of a mentor is they can keep you accountable. You just mentioned that. So it's not only inspiring, so it's saying, okay, you're not doing what's needed, or you need to do this.
Yes.
And this podcast was put off for, I can procrastinate. I have superpowers there sometimes. I bought the equipment for the podcast, I think 3 or 4 years ago. I sat in the cupboard there, obviously not doing anything. So, but I caught up with a friend of mine just before Christmas who I mentioned I was going to do the podcast. Of course, still hadn't started. He said, and he sort of made me accountable in a very loving, nice way. So